Smackdown starts off with Sakoa. He cuts a promo. He mentions Wargames. He mentions his team. He mentions the OG Bloodline. Mentions how the OG Bloodline doesn't have a fifth member. And then he ends up mentioning Roman Reigns and that Roman Reigns needs to surrender to him and that he has by the end of SmackDown to do it. So they end up building up towards, build this towards the main event. And that's the big angle of tonight's show. Will Roman Reigns surrender to Solo Sikoa? Then afterwards, we end up getting another triple threat match for the first round of the women's U.S. Title. It was Bianca, Blair, and Chelsea Green. In the middle of this match, Jade Cargill ended up getting attacked. They end up showing her on the Titantron. She ended up getting laid out on a car. Bianca ends up leaving the match. Then this made it a one-on-one match between Chelsea and Blair, and Chelsea picked up the victory. I am very surprised that Chelsea Green picked. Well, I'm surprised that they actually allowed Chelsea Green to pick up the victory, but to be fair, the way they did it was actually good. She didn't have to cheat. She got a clean victory. Now, unfortunately, it had to be due to Blair Davenport losing cleanly, but I'm not mad at it. Chelsea Green gets the advance. We'll see if she's able to beat Bayley, but I actually like the idea of her advancing because I was worried that she was going to face Bianca Belair, but they did it in a very good way. Also, after this, too, they end up showing that Jade potentially, we don't know yet, potentially could be out of the tournament. They end up saying there's going to be a mystery opponent in replacing of Jade. So I don't know if they're writing Jade off for a few weeks or just that week, because it looks like that she won't be in the War Games match, and they already kind of teased it on tonight's show that who's going to be that fifth member for Rhea Ripley's team, and it looks like it's going to be Bayley. So it looks like they may be telling that story as well. So we'll see how that plays out. After this, we end up getting LA Knight, Santos Escobar. I'm not going to speak too much on it. The main focus is really Shinsuke Nakamura, because he ended up having a vignette segment before the match. Basically, he was alluding to LA Knight being very insecure, and that basically he understands LA Knight. He's been watching for a while, and that LA Knight is a very insecure man. That's the main focus of. I don't know if that's the reason why, the main focus of why he's attacking. Basically, he's just saying LA Knight is an insecure man. He's gonna. I don't know if he said he was gonna show those things, but the main thing he kept repeating was that he's very insecure. And then after LA Knight picked up the victory, he ends up attacking him. He ends up throwing him into the ring post like 3 times. So I'm interested to see how this feud plays out. It's very interesting. Something new for LA Knight, a new challenger, something we haven't seen LA Knight face. So I'm very interested to see how this plays out. Now we end up getting Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. They're face to face. It starts off with Cody constantly demanding KO to come in the ring, but KO keeps on refusing because he keeps on saying that he's not going to do what Cody Rhodes tells him to do. Then KO ends up saying that all the things that's been happening for the past few months with him, attacking Cody, then attacking Randy, he says it's all Cody Rhodes' fault. KO ends up saying that he fought the Bloodline for 4 years. Then he ends up saying that he helped Cody fight the Bloodline as well. He said he helped him achieve his story. Mentions WrestleMania 39, mentioned WrestleMania 40. And then he ends up saying that a few months afterwards, he the one that teamed up with Roman, so therefore it is his fault. Then Cody responds. Cody ends up saying that he teamed up with Roman because he thought it was the right thing to do. And then he ends up saying that KO is trying to become a victim in the situation. He's having a victim mentality, and that he's trying to make himself the victim, and that he is self-sabotaging his own career. Then he ends up mentioning what was it? Bash in Berlin. I almost forgot the pay-per-view. He mentions Bash in Berlin. Mentions, about how Kevin Owens could have been WWE champion if he was willing to pull the trigger. And then he ends up saying that he ended up doing that. He ends up mentioning pulling the trigger on Randy Orton, and that was the wrong person to do it to. Then he ends up, alluding to, the power driver he gave to Randy Orton. And then he ends up saying that the issues that they have is not going to be settled by them talking. It's going to be settled with a match. Then KO ends up, repeating back what Cody said about pulling the trigger. And he ends up saying that whenever they have their match, you don't have to worry about him pulling the trigger because he actually loved Randy, but he despised and hate Cody Rhodes. This was really good. This was a really good promo. This was great. I love this. This was a great promo. This is a really good promo, and I love the way it's blurring the lines of, to a degree, of who's the face and who's the heel. Because, to be honest, Kevin Owens didn't. You can say Kevin Owens came off as a heel to a degree, but Cody kind of came off as a heel to a degree as well. You can really choose a side whether or not who do you really think is the real babyface. I look at it as both guys are technically babyface. It's just that Kevin Owens is the heel due to, the popularity of Cody Rhodes, of course, and things of that nature. But this was really good. This was really great. I would I would hope it's for Survivor Series, but I'm assuming it may just be for Saturday night's main event. Only because if they was gonna do it for Survivor Series, I feel like they would have just done it now. Because I don't think they're gonna make it official on the go home show of Smackdown. I feel like a match this big should be announced in advance. So either they announce it on Monday Night Raw, or it's gonna happen later, which I wouldn't be mad at. But overall, this was a really great segment. I enjoyed this segment. This was really great. After this, we end up getting Bayley, Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton and Candice LeRae. I'm not even going to speak about the match. I was going to go in depth, but now that I thought about it, I just remember what actually happened in the match. I'm not even going to go that in depth into it. Nia Jax ends up interfering in the match, causing a disqualification. This allowed Nia, Tiffany, and Candice to attack Bayley and Naomi. But then Io Sky ends up coming out for the save. But then Liv and Raquel ends up coming out attacking Io. Then this allowed Rhea Ripley to come out to take out Raquel. Yeah, it looks like they're definitely teasing Bayley to get injected into this Wargames match, because now she actually has a reason to be in this match, and plus she's the only logical babyface that it makes sense for this match to happen, to be honest. So it looks like she's going to be ejected into this Wargames match. Yeah, very interested to see how this plays out. Very interested to see if they actually do it, what story they're going to tell. Is it going to be they may play the story of Bayley, or they're going to mainly talk about the Bayley and Io story, or Bayley and Bianca story. Either way, I'm very interested to see how this plays out. Now we end up getting Montez Ford, Tommaso Ciampa. They're telling, of course, they're telling the story of Tommaso Ciampa constantly being tired, constantly feels like that he's not getting the opportunity that he feels like he deserves, and they end up having this match due to Ciampa costing the Street Profits their tag match last week. So Montez wants his revenge, of course. Montez Ford actually picked up the victory. He picks up the victory. Then Tommaso Ciampa ended up attacking Montez Ford. Then this allowed Angelo Dawkins to come in, attacks Ciampa. Johnny tries to stop Dawkins, but Dawkins and not letting go. Then this allowed Ciampa to take advantage to attack Dawkins again. Johnny is trying to play peacemaker. He's trying to calm Ciampa down, but Ciampa is not calming down, and he ends up pushing him once again. He pushes him to the ground once again, and then the Motor City Machine Guns comes out, and then Ciampa ends up leaving. I like what they're doing here. They're slowly building this. We know how Triple H is with his, heel and face turns. He slowly builds these up. So I don't know how long he can really push this storyline. I'm interested in the story, but I don't know if you could push a DIY heel turn or face turn, whatever it is, with Johnny. I don't know. You could push this for like 6 months, like you do with other people. I'm just saying. So, I'm interested to see where this goes, though. Now we end up getting the main event. You get the OG Bloodline, New Bloodline. They're in the ring. Solo basically ends up saying that he still has love for Roman. He has love for the Usos. And then he ends up saying that if they join his bloodline, they'll be unstoppable. And then he ends up saying that they need to surrender to him. Roman then ends up grabbing the microphone. And before he could talk, Paul Heyman ends up making his return. He ends up doing, his catchphrase and all that. And then he ends up mentioning Wargames. Mentions how it's a 4-on-5 and that's unfair, and that it needs to be 5-on-5. And then CM Punk ends up comes out to the ring, and then they all brawl and the babyfaces stand tall. This is great. I'm happy to see CM Punk, and it actually makes sense. And you could tell two stories at once. You could tell the story between Roman, Paul Heyman, and CM Punk, but you could also tell the story of Seth Rollins, because I didn't feel like Seth Rollins really needed to be in this match. I like the idea of CM Punk being in it more, and also I think you could also tell the story of CM Punk and Seth Rollins even without Seth Rollins being in the match as well. So this is very interesting. I like what they did here. This was great. Um, I can't wait to see how that match plays out. But man, this was a really solid episode of SmackDown. You guys let me know your opinions down below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, that's it.